Today is December 22nd. That means that there is 9 days left in this year. In these next 9 days, my goal is to finish all of my works in progress, all of my projects, so that I can start the new year fresh. I have 4 projects that I'm working on. 1 is crochet, 1 is knit, and 2 are sewing. And then I have 1 project I want to frog because I'm not going to finish it. I have 2 stretch goals. Let's talk through this. My crochet project is the I'll Pencil You In sweater by Just the Worsted. I am done the body and I've attached the buttons, which are these adorable flower buttons, but I'm not sure that it actually goes with the project. All I have to do on this is add sleeves. This is a worsted weight project with a 5mm hook, so it does work up relatively quick. I'm using the Portobello yarn in this pretty blue color. This is a blown yarn, so this has a cotton casing and it's filled with wool and acrylic. I have quite a few of these left. I got this from Hobie. The sleeves are made to measure. I have not started them yet, so that's what I need to do on this project. My next project is the knitting project, which is the Snuggle Socks by Alongavec Anna. I started these a few months ago and I stopped them because these actually are supposed to have a ruffle cuff, and so I had knit the ruffle cuff and I had done the folded over hem. I did it wrong, so I stopped for a few months, and then last night I picked it up again and I tried to frog back to just before I made the mistake. I was struggling to make it look tidy because of how I had picked up stitches. It was all very unevenly knitted. I just frogged the whole thing. So this is progress from last night, and then this morning I have decided to follow the pattern but not do the ruffle hem or ruffle cuff. Instead, I cast on the correct amount of stitches for the body, just did a 1x1 rib for the cuff, and now I'm working the length to before the heel. So there's still kind of a snuggle socks, but more of like a vanilla snuggle sock. I'm interested to do the heel construction on this because it's different than the heel construction that I've done before. This is only my second pair of knit socks. This pair is for myself. I got this yarn on Facebook Marketplace. It's a wool yarn and it's a blue/green color. I don't know if my camera picks it up, but it's a gorgeous color. That's 2 socks I want to knit in 9 days. That's already seeming like it's a little much. We'll see if I can do it. My sewing projects are actually 2 of the same thing. I'm making the chanterelle pants by Sew Liberated. It was a Christmas present to myself to make 2 more pairs of pants because my pants that I bought at the thrift store a couple years ago are wearing out and I want all my pants to be me made. I'm making one in this plaid fabric I got at the thrift store. I think it's a wool blend. It's a very nice texture. It's like a yellow background with green, red, and blue throughout it. Gorgeous. And then the other pair I'm making out of this green material that my sister gave me, and I believe that's polyester. The reason I have them on here is because I needed to buy thread for it. I'm using the same thread for both, so this should be a pretty quick process. I have already completed the backs of each pair. I hope to today complete the front pockets on both pairs. Then that's all 4 projects talked about. So now let's talk about the one that I'm gonna unravel. I started the ranunculus sweater a couple of months ago, and here's how it's working up. It's like not bad. It's just I don't like it. I'm not enjoying the process of making it, and I don't think I'm gonna wear it. Why waste the yarn, you know? So I'm going to unravel that. Then I don't have to think about it anymore. Stretch goals. A few months ago, I finished making the Cora vest by Kukuruku Crochet, and it's quite lovely. I just don't like the buttons. They just make it look, I don't know, not nice. So I do have extra flower buttons, the same ones that I used on my I'll Pencil It In cardigan, and I think that blue doesn't actually match. Anyway, I want to change the buttons on this. I don't know what buttons I'm going to use yet, but I think that it'll make it so that I'll wear this. I was going to say more often, but I've never worn it, so I'll wear this. My last stretch goal, which is definitely a stretch goal because this will take a while, is I have the Ally sweater here, which I knit for my Halloween costume, and it's a very nice sweater. I knit it with Hobie Twister Solid in this evergreen color, and then 2 strands of Hobie Alpaca Blaze, which is the darker green color. I really like this green sweater. I wear it a lot actually, but it is too short, and I want to add probably the same amount as the ribbings here, so about 5 centimeters. I want to add another 5 centimeters to the hem. And that's everything I want to finish in 9 days. Wish me luck. My goal for the day is to attach the pockets to the chanterelle pants on both sides. That includes sewing it down, understitching, ironing it flat, French seaming the bottom of the pocket, and pinning the side and top into place 4 times. So I think that'll take me about an hour. And then I still have to exercise before work and then shower. And there's my last one. That took 50 minutes, which was less time than I thought it would by 10 minutes. Though I did stop to have breakfast. It's all the time I can commit to sewing today. So hopefully I'll have time tomorrow to do the zipper flies. It's the next day. I have an hour before I need to go to work. I spent the morning doing school. So let's see how far I can get on this fly today. I have my pieces prepped. I picked out these zippers from my stash. I got them at the thrift store. This one still had a price tag on it. It was $1.25. This is my zipper guard. It's sewn together at the bottom and then turned right side out. This is the fly extension. I've serged along here and this piece is interfaced. And then I have the same in the other color. This fabric is definitely more sturdy. I think these pants will last longer. This fabric's very soft and it doesn't respond to ironing well. And because it's so soft, I think it'll pill really easy and wear out faster. So I put the longer zipper in this one because that'll make it easier to go over my hips and this will last longer. Next step, sew the zipper to the guard. I'm done the fly on this green pair. I didn't get to the other pair. It's a little puckered here, and I actually didn't use that other zipper. I had to find another one because that one was too long, and because it had metal teeth, I couldn't shorten it. But I shortened this one, and it seems okay. I did the reinforcing here by hand because it wouldn't fit under my machine, but this one here is done by machine. I'm not like super pleased with it, but I feel like once it's on, this won't be as noticeable because this fabric's so soft and drapey, but I guess we'll see. I have 15 more minutes, so I think what I'm gonna do is seam the side seams and the inseam, and then I have to get ready for work. Today is Saturday, September 27th, or December 27th. I have 4 more days to finish this project of finishing all my projects. I didn't have time to sew on Wednesday. I was too tired and then I needed to go to work. And then Thursday, we went to a different city for Christmas. We went to be with my family. That was very nice. Yesterday, Friday, my husband was home from work, so we just had a very peaceful, chill day at home, and it was lovely. Today, my husband's at work and I have time to work on my projects again. Something about the socks is they're very portable. And so I could take them with me to work. I could take them with me to my family gatherings, and I worked on them yesterday. Here's my first sock. It's all done. I struggled a little bit with tension on the slip stitch heel, but maybe that's kind of how it's supposed to be. This is my first time making myself a pair of socks, and I'm extremely pleased with how they turned out. They fit really well. Do you want to see something crazier? This morning I finished the other sock. This sock definitely has better tension throughout. The ribbing on the first one is a little wonky because it was unraveled from the other sock, and this one's much neater, but they're both beautiful. So now I'm gonna block them, and then these are done. All I have left to do, I still have to finish both pairs of the chanterelles, but I feel like I can finish those today, and then I can start working on the cardigan as well too. For that, I need to measure for the sleeves because they're made to measure sleeves. I have not had the brain power to do the math required for that because I've been doing a lot of math for school. I forgot to say, I did have this much yarn left over after the socks, which is perfect because I want to make my husband a pair of socks for his birthday in March. And I have the same kind of yarn in brown. His feet are bigger than mine. They're the same length, but like the width, he's twice as wide as mine. I don't think I'll have enough with just one skein. So I'm going to use this on the toes of his socks. And that'll be really cute, I think. Brown and blue look really nice together. I finished the fly. Very pleased with it. I think it's very tidy. I think this one looks much better than the green one. I think that's probably due to the fabric because this one's a much easier fabric to work with. The green one's very slippery and doesn't want to behave, but this one behaves marvelously. And also the thread color is the same as the green in the weave of the fabric. And so it blends right in and you can't even like really see see the stitching lines. I've pinned together the inseam, and now I'm going to sew that, serge it, press it to the back, sew that, do the side seams, and then both of my pants are at the same step. We will move on to the pleats and then the waistband. The end is near. The next step is the waistband. I've finished sewing the side seams on the patterned pair, and I also basted the pleats into both pairs. I basted the pleats in the opposite way than the pattern suggests because I just think it looks better with the pleat facing out instead of in. I have all of the waistband pieces here and they are all interfaced already. So I just need to sew the left front to the back, the right front to the back, and then I can start working on attaching it to the trouser. Two things I need to remember. I have to remember to add a tag before I sew the waistband down, and then I also want to make 2 belt buckles but the wrong way for each pair so that I can hang my work badge and my keys from my waistband. On my previous pairs I just made 1 of these, but I think it would be nicer to have 2. I'm gonna do that now, just make these quick because that'll make the process going forward easier. I've just finished the belt loops, and I think that's about all the sewing I'm up to for today. I will sew the waistband and the cuffs tomorrow, hopefully. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna measure the sleeves for my cardigan so that I can work on that in my downtime, but I really gotta study now, so. Okay, I've done the math. These panels seem like they're going to be bigger than any of my other panels. Not as big as the back panel, but bigger than the front panels, which I suppose is good. I want to have enough room to wear something underneath this, so I added 2 inches of positive ease to my measurements, 5 centimeters of positive ease, which is what the pattern recommends, 5 to 8 centimeters. So according to this, I need to do 54 rows of 86 stitches, and I need to do that twice. That's a lot of stitches. Guess we'll see if I can finish this by the new year. That's my update for today. I'll see you tomorrow. It's the next day. I have done about half of the first sleeve for the Al Pencil UN cardigan, and now we're going to continue working on the chanterelles. We're going to do the waistband. I've just finished prepping both waistbands, but I'm only gonna work on 1 pair of pants till it's all the way done and then go back and do the other one. And I'm gonna do the green ones first because I don't think they're gonna turn out as well. So they're kind of like the practice pair. Even though I've made these pants quite a few times, I haven't made them in a few months. I've I've pinned the waistband onto the pants. The pants have warped quite a bit along the top. They've stretched out, and I think that's part of the problem with this fabric is it's just so soft, and it warps and it stretches, and it's not supposed to stretch. It's supposed to be stable, but because the weave is off or something, it's stretching. I made sure to leave a 5/8 inch seam allowance on both sides. I've sewn the waistband down and pressed the seam allowance and the waistband away from the body like you're supposed to. I think it's looking really nice. I'm really glad I added the pleat this way instead. I think it looks better. So next is putting the waistband right sides together along the short edge and sewing with a 5/8 seam allowance along there. The trickiest part about this seam is making sure you don't get any of the zipper guard in the seam allowance while maintaining the 5/8 seam allowance. So I've sewn that. We'll clip the corner, turn it right side out, and there we go. Neat and tidy. Now I just have to do the same thing on the other side. The next step is to sew down the front waistband to the pants, and then that part's done and you just need to add the elastic to the back waistband. So I just quickly sewed in my little belt loops just over each pocket for my work keys and work badge. On the inside, I also used a zigzag stitch to sew in my label. These patches really elevate the garment, I think. And I'm very excited to wear these, even though I think these ones are going to fall apart really fast. Now I'm going to pin down the front waistband here, and then I'm going to sew those down, and then I need to dig through my closet and find my elastic. I think this is actually the best waistband I've ever done. I'm not done it yet, obviously, but it just looks so good. It is a little uneven. This overlapping side is about half an inch taller than the other side, but I feel like when it's on, that won't be super noticeable. I'm really excited. I'm almost done. Okay, I need to find some elastic. Oh, I should show you. This is what it looks like on the inside. So what you do is you pin it from the inside, making sure your needles are perpendicular to where the seam is going to go, and then you top stitch it from the outside, doing your best to stitch in the ditch, which I'm not like super good at, but I'm also not like terrible at. You look back on the inside and make sure you caught all the seam allowance, and I did. I'm most proud of this section here, because normally I have some raw edges hanging loose here, and I don't this time on both sides. It just looks tidy on the inside. I'm so pleased. I should have read the instructions because I just did the wrong step first. I'm not going to undo it. I'm just going to make it work. I was supposed to do the back first so that I could feed the elastic through. And then do the front last. I'm using this elastic. It is, I think, 2 inches wide, a bit less than 2 inches, maybe 1 3/4. I believe it's meant to be 2 inches for this pattern, but this will work. My waist measurement right now is 31.5 inches, and the flat front of the waistband is 17 inches. So 31.5 minus 17 is 14.5, but I do find that elastic shrinks when you wash it. So I think I'm going to do 15.5 just for a bit of wiggle room. I feel like my waist fluctuates 31.5 to 33, so maybe I'll do 16 inches. I'll do 16 inches because there's going to be seam allowance too. I've sewn the back waistband into place. I just left a 3-inch gap on each side. So now I'm going to feed the elastic through, pin it on both sides at the side waistband on each side, and then try it on. I'm almost on the waistband of one of the chanterelles. So I'm trying them on at the 16-inch length, and the button isn't on, obviously. It is a little big at the back here, but quite often when I wash anything made with elastic, the elastic shrinks when it goes through the dryer. So I think that this amount of bigness will go away once it's washed. And also, as I previously stated, my waist fluctuates. It's at the small part right now, so I think it's good to have a bit of extra room. So I'm going to sew it in place. I've just had a look through my buttons, and I don't have like proper jean buttons that are big enough. I only have small ones left. Unfortunate, but I chose 2 button options, one for each pair out of my vintage buttons. This one has a rose on it, and this one is just decorative. So I think those are very pretty. They're both toggle back. I don't know what that's called. I feel like there's a word for it, but I can't think of it. I'm gonna practice making buttonholes. I have one leftover belt loop, and I'm gonna use that to make my practice buttonhole. I'm extremely pleased with how this is turning out. I think these are gonna look very nice. Buttonholes done, buttons sewn on. So cute. So now I'm gonna add fray check to the buttonhole and then cook dinner. Hi. Happy 2026. Today's January 1st. Let's talk about what I finished and what I didn't. I had a pretty crazy couple of days. There was a bunch of unforeseen circumstances that took up a lot of my time and also made it so that I was not willing to film myself on camera. So a bunch of this is, well, most of this is off camera, though I did film some little bits that'll be in the screen somewhere. So at the beginning of this video, there was 4 projects I wanted to finish, 1 I wanted to unravel, and 2 stretch goals. I finished the snuggle socks, which I've shown you already. They're done blocking and they're on my feet, and I'm not going to show you them. I believe it was yesterday morning I finished the last sleeve of my I'll Pencil You In cardigan. However, I did not sew it together yet because I want to block it before I sew it together so that it has a chance to stretch in length. So that's not going to be in this video. But I feel like I can still say that I finished it because all the crocheting is done. I also changed the buttons from the flower buttons to these dark blue ones because I think that they just suit the cardigan better. I didn't like how bright the flower ones were. I should have gone with the darker color, but these were in my stash and I think they look great with this yarn. The last two projects that I said I wanted to finish were my chanterelle pants. And just this morning I sewed on the cuffs, so they are completely finished, and I will have these on try-on clips in B-roll here. I'm very pleased with how they turned out. I'm very excited to have these in my wardrobe, and what a lovely present to myself. I now have 2 more pairs of pants that fit me perfectly in my wardrobe. I unraveled the ranunculus. That didn't actually take very long. I put it off till yesterday, the 31st, and unraveling it took probably about 20 minutes. And now I have 3 tidy balls of this yarn left over, and I've stuck them in a project bag. I don't know what I'm going to make with them yet, but I'm glad to not have the ranunculus hanging over my head anymore. The next thing I did was I got the Cora vest and I chose new buttons for it. I chose these like purpley ones that kind of go more with the color of the yarn. I didn't have 4, so I only sewed on the top 3 buttons, and I think that that'll be good. I like how it looks better now, but it is more of a summer top, so we'll see if I wear it come spring, summer. I had a really hard time choosing the buttons for that project. I wanted buttons that blended in better, but I couldn't find any that did that, except for these 3 kind of blend in, but they're still pretty noticeable. But I'm happy enough with how that turned out. Yesterday, I was also able to lengthen the alley sweater. Somehow, I had time to do all of that. I was considering adding scallops to the bottom, and I still might. This sweater is worked bottom up. I was picking up on the cast-off edge instead of unraveling the already worked hem and then just continuing knitting. There is a very visible join here where my new bit was added, and I did kind of suck in the hem a little bit when I picked up these stitches and worked this. I don't know if I accidentally did it on a smaller needle or what, but it actually fits my waist better instead of flaring out. I'm happy with that. I like how it looks better. And that was the last stretch goal. So I managed to finish everything before the new year, ignoring the fact that I have not yet blocked or sewn together the I'll pencil you in, and I sewed on the cuffs this morning to the chanterelles. I still feel like I was pretty successful in finishing these projects in 2025. I've already cast on my next big knitting project, and I'm really happy with my yarn choices for that. That's everything that I have for this video. My next video will be a video where I talk about my favorite makes of 2025, judged by which I wear the most. If you're interested in that, consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for being here. Goodbye.